Morty Season 4 is just getting weirder and weirder. This week's episode, Claw and Hoarder Special Victims Unit, was no exception. From slut dragons to talking cats and everywhere in between, I'm Whitney Van Lanningham, and these are all the Easter eggs and references you might have missed in Season 4, Episode 4 of Rick and Morty. If you don't know that there are going to be spoilers in this video, there are! Kindly hit pause, watch the episode, and return when your brain is saturated in the same substances that Rick and the dragon smoke in this episode. Right off the bat, we've got a ton of fantasy tropes to contend with. Morty wishes for a dragon as his reward for helping Rick get an ultimate cube. Hence the title of the episode, Claw and Hoarder Special Victims Morty. Get it? Like Law and Order Special Victims Unit, but with dragons? Since SVU is also a show about sex crimes, it's fitting for an episode all about massive soul orgies. Although, I'm kind of bummed that Water T didn't make an appearance. Ice-T is low-key my favorite person. Follow him on Twitter, you won't regret it. Before Morty gets his dragon, there's a joke that dragons are for nerds that refuse to admit that they're Christians. This might be too inside baseball, but the credited writer for this episode, Jeff Loveness, grew up as a devout, nerdy Christian. Considering that Loveness is also a Marvel writer with a love for Wolverine, this whole scene where Rick name drops the X-Men screams as a self-burn on Loveness. After summoning an ancient wizard, Rick presents Morty with his very own dragon. All he has to do is sign a blood oath, binding his soul to his new winged pal Balthramar. This soul binding, particularly the linked pain the bind share, is reminiscent of the movie Dragonheart. Before the dragon enters its lair, there's a background shot featuring Rick and Morty's graves. Remember when they had to portal out of their destroyed first universe, bury their own corpses, and take their alts places? Fun! The dragon's hoard itself is full of Easter eggs, playing into the whole dragons only hoard gold and extremely valuable items lore. And a lot of comparisons can be drawn to Smaug from The Hobbit. Let's dig through this treasure, starting with this Duckman lunchbox. If you weren't cognizant of adult cartoon entertainment in the 90s, Duckman Private Dick Family Man was an animated sitcom about Eric T. Duckman, a detective who lives in Los Angeles with his family. Duckman was voiced by none other than Jason Alexander. Frank Zappa's son Dweezil played his eldest son Ajax, and Tim Curry plays the supervillain King Chicken. But those were just a few of the recurring characters. Like Klasky Csupo's other fledgling hit series, The Simpsons, over 180 celebrities lent their voices to Duckman throughout its 3-year run. But no lunchbox in the 90s was complete without Ecto Cooler, the limited-run high-C juice box that debuted to promote Ghostbusters 2 and the Real Ghostbusters animated series in the 80s and 90s. It had the same taste as the regular orange tangerine Hi-C, but it was neon Slimer green, and actually lasted longer than the hype for the Real Ghostbusters did. The dragon is also hoarding another 90s classic snack, Spin Pops! I remember buying those while waiting in line to rent a VHS at Blockbusters. Balthramar obviously won an eBay bid for 2 Small Soldiers Spin Pops featuring Archer and Chip from 1998. If you're not familiar with Small Soldiers, it was a children's cult classic that was essentially Toy Story mixed with a race war. Balthramar also has a creature from the Black Lagoon Spin Pop, as well as a Qui-Gon Jinn model. It also looks like there are some treasures referencing Justin and Dan. For Justin, there's that VR headset in reference to his widely known obsession with VR. And then for the true Funko collector, what better prize than a Dan Harmon Funko Pop? Look at it, it's got a little podcasting mic and everything! But those clearly aren't the best treasures. Worth a whopping $3.2 million is Action Comic number 1, the first comic to introduce Superman. There's also the priceless Venus de Milo sculpture, and what looks like a Tesla that would make Elon Musk proud. I couldn't pin down what those other treasures might be, so leave a comment if you can identify them. Rick decides that he should give Balthramar a shot. I mean, hanging out with a dragon has to be better than catching up on the latest episode of Ass, right? Oh, by the way, Ass is basically just Fox's 2005 hit procedural drama Bones, down to the character Brenner being named after Dr. Brennan. And like Bones, the show immediately gets boring as soon as the leads hook up. After discovering Balthramar's copy of Future's self-titled album, signed in Molly and Percocet, the two embark on a drug and booze-filled spree, bumping the track Mask Off from that album. Over in B-Plot Town, a talking cat voiced by Matthew Broderick has convinced Jerry to join him on a bender in Florida. Because anything goes in Florida, we see a couple of beloved childhood favorites getting lit in FLA. First up is your boy Ash Ketchum, who has aged very poorly. I don't know if the yellow Speedo is to blame, or the hot dog, or hell, even the bong rips he's seen taken later. All I know is Ash caught himself some city miles between winning the Alolan Championship and his current downward spiral in America's swampland. Next, we see that Tommy Pickles is all grown up and ready to chase Jerry down in an angry mob. They're really hitting the Klasky Supo references in this episode hard, huh? Alright, back to Rick and Balthramar, who have straight up ignored Morty's dragon summoning spell and are still squanching around. Instead of responding, they spell text him that one gif of Taylor Swift where she's doing the fist pump thing. Yeah, that one! Suddenly, Rick and Balthramar begin soul bonding, which is apparently a multi-orgasmic experience for both of them. This prompts Morty to break his blood oath with the wizard, who apologizes for the dragon's betrayal and then starts doing this.
You slut, dragon! You slut!
Chill out, dude.
Okay, that's slut! You don't have to shame on you!
But for all the wizard's slut-shaming, it seems like he's not as pure and chaste as he claims to be either. When Rick, Morty, and Summer invade Dragon to rescue Balthramar, they catch the wizard with his robe untied. If you look behind him, you'll notice that homie's clearly watching wizard porn. Why are wizards such hypocrites? After forming a 10-slut dragon soul orgy, the dragons fuse to become the all-slut Phoenix Dragon Slut, which straight up sounds like a Yu-Gi-Oh card that you need a magnifying glass to read. Back on Earth, Rick immediately bails on the dragon. That family orgy was weird, y'all, and jets off to Florida to rescue Jerry. They decide to trap the talking Ferris Bueller cat and scan its brain to find out why the frick this cat can talk. The answer is so horrifying that it causes Jerry to projectile vomit and makes Rick instantly suicidal. When Jerry insists on remembering what they saw because someone has to, Rick shoots him in the head with his memory erase gun, just like Morty's mind blowers. I wonder if this memory might become weaponized in the future. Maybe it'll come back towards the end of the season, as Rick makes a possibly fourth wall-breaking hint of the cat being a finale-level crisis. Speaking of which, what do you think is going on in that cat's mind? I've seen suggestions that the cat itself is a reference to the sci-fi B-movie The Cat from Outer Space, but I can't help be reminded of Chewie/Goose the Flurkin's sidekick to Captain Marvel. Rick and Morty introducing an interstellar cat Thulu and adding the implication of sexual deviancy definitely seems on brand for the episode. Those are all the Easter eggs and references I found in Claw and Hoarder Special Rickdom's Morty, but I want to know if there are any I missed in the comments. Like and subscribe to Nerdwire and click to the left for more videos, you slut dragons.